Legacy LA serves Boyle Heights, Los Angeles, with a focus on Ramona Gardens, LA's largest and oldest public housing community. 94% of residents are Latino, 86% speak Spanish at home, 67% of households fall below the federal poverty level, and there are limited educational and economic opportunities.
Hi, my name is Elodia, and I'm a youth that has been living in the Ramona Gardens projects for 18 years, where we're surrounded by freeways, factories, and train tracks. And our closest market is actually a liquor store, where we have not very fresh fruits or vegetables or healthy options to eat. And we're easily more attainable to substances than fresh food, where a liquor store is a mile away, whereas the actual market is 3 miles away. And because of this, it's like causing us to be isolated and pretty much like not helping us advance.
It was a blessing, I'm very privileged to have made it out. Growing up, I've seen so much. I can't even begin to speak of. But yeah, the safest thing to say is like public housing pain gave me a Purple Heart. But can't complain. Can't complain. It's gave me my strength and gave me my ambition, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I find that
We are a group of high school students who have a dream to make change in our communities. The purpose of our substance use disorder campaign is to spread awareness on SUD and mental health resources, along with advocating for more mental health policies and services within our community in order to stop youth from falling into substance use disorder. Our goal is to create a series of 24/7 youth hubs across the city of Los Angeles. These youth hubs will include technology services, employment training, the arts, therapy, and other mental health resources.
In my community, residents are isolated from most services. Today, alcohol and marijuana is easily attainable from a 1-mile radius, whereas the supermarket is 3 miles away.
SUD stands for substance use disorder and is essentially a condition of a person's brain and behavior leading to someone's inability to control their use of substances, such as alcohol, legal or illegal drugs, and medication. Most people who struggle with SUD are often misunderstood and treated badly when all they need is love, care, and support, not criminalization.
America's public enemy number one in the United States is drug abuse.
The history of SUD goes all the way back to the war on drugs. The war on drugs was a program started by former President Richard Nixon and the U.S. government. What it essentially did was increase penalties and fines for all drug-related offenses, and it greatly affected people of color more. People of color were targeted and arrested more because of the type of drug that they were using. Those were more punished than the ones that were found in higher income communities. The war on drugs made it so that people with SUD are treated as criminals instead of as people that need mental help. And one of the communities most affected by this is Ramona Gardens.
My name is Chelsea, and I have lived in Ramona Gardens for 10 years. Something that concerns me in my community is substance use disorder. I feel like the transition to middle school, I saw a lot of my childhood friends and classmates engage with substances, and I feel like in my community it's very easy to get access to substances, and I feel like one of the root causes is not that many after-school programs and resources, and I feel like my classmates use substances because it helps them cope with like what they're going through and like themselves too, and I feel like we need a positive alternative instead of substances.
A stunning spike in deaths reported tonight in the homeless population in LA County, and the flood of deadly drugs on our streets is getting the blame. Fentanyl, meth, and now tranq. KCAL News reporter Nicole Comstock live in downtown LA with those startling numbers. Nicole?
Well, across LA County, 2,200 homeless people died in 2021. That's the highest number ever recorded. And some people fear that number could continue to tick up every single day unless we see a massive change in this county.
Yeah, because I lost a lot of friends during those years. And like every year, like 3 friends would die. And for 10 years, I lost like 20 or 30 friends.
Wow.
And that was like the most thing I regret of everything. That's
hard.
And these are like brothers to me. And yeah, that was like the worst thing. And that's what I tried to.
It was a power struggle, yet a blessing, all in one. Yeah, you know, surrounded by drugs, alcohol, gang violence, all that stuff.
As youth, we are often left out of the conversation due to how young we are. We're often looked over, and we're often just thrown aside just because of our lack of experience, even though we have ideas, even though we have stuff that we can bring to the table when it comes to these political issues. So here at Legacy LA, we have decided to do multiple projects in which we inform the community and destigmatize SUD and bring help to these people that desperately need it. Lately, we have created a digital resource in which we map out liquor stores and dispensaries in the Boyle Heights community and compare that to SUD sources that will help people who are suffering from this disorder. And we are also comparing that to a richer neighborhood such as Beverly Hills to show like the disparity between the richer and the poorer neighborhoods. We have also been doing murals in which we depict SUD in the Boyle Heights community and show how it affects the people within our community. Art is a way of communication between people and a way that we can communicate complex ideas. And by showing the art to the people of Los Angeles, we will be showing the Boyle Heights experience to the entire LA County. And hopefully this will be a way for us to connect with the politicians and connect to the people and show what needs to be done in order to fix this deeply concerning issue within our community.
Our journalism team has had the opportunity to interview multiple members of the community. Through these interviews, we have been able to not only learn but share about firsthand experiences with SUD and its impact on individuals within a specific community. On a much larger scale, our social media team has been able to spread a similar awareness through our Instagram. Our posts have provided a historical context to SUD with its connection to the war on drugs, as well as provide relevant data that shows its negative impact on the community, as well as provide useful tips and mental health services that are already available to youth in our community.
In RG, we don't have resources for substance use disorder or mental health. It is much easier for us to access substances rather than to get better food options or mental health support. I believe my community needs mental health resources, rehab centers, prevention programs, treatment, and other mental health support. Our goal is to create 24/7 hour youth hubs where our youth will go to receive opportunities and resources to better themselves and their community. This funding can come from cannabis tax revenue and other sources to fund youth programs.
I believe that mental health programs and services and rehabilitation centers are very beneficial. I could say from my own experience, I've done a lot of counseling with counselors at school. I have personal therapy outside of school, and I do have a psychiatrist. You know, I believe that from my experience, it's very important to keep therapy consistent. And, you know, like if therapy isn't helping enough, you know, you could talk about medication, talk about meeting with a psychiatrist, with your therapist. And from there, you could really explore and really research into more of mental health services. But I believe that we could do this with having mental health youth hubs everywhere in our community. And I believe that with my story, since I've been struggling with my mental health journey since I was 14, I am now 18. I believe that it is very important to speak up when you need help,
Yes, it's very scary to speak up when you're in a very dark place, but it's very important to advocate for yourself. And I feel like mental health and services and counseling and therapy should be as common as McDonald's on every corner. It should be as common as how people come to the park to exercise. It should be a very common thing, and everybody shouldn't stigmatize mental health. And therefore, I believe that's why we should invest more into mental health services to help SUD.
As I sit in front of City Hall, I'll leave you with this bottom line. We want to live in a city where our voices are heard, where we have access to readily available mental health services, and where we are free of the stigma of using these services.